Hi, my name is Lisa and I'm a dating coach for men. Most of the men that come to me for help usually have issues with communication. Some not communication, but some with approaching, and some not with approaching, but the communication. So I'm going to give you some great tips, mostly on approaching, but they can be applied to conversations as well. And they can be applied to, a lot of them can be applied to conversations with anybody, and which is fine because you want to use this to practice anyway. So this is pretty much all you need to know. I have 20 tips, 20 important tips. So I've heard so much crappy advice out there. I want, some good, some bad. So I weeded out the bad and I took what was good, but I also included what I knew. And that's pretty much it. So, how do you approach a woman that you don't know? It's really not that hard once you have a strategy. And this will improve your communication skills, like I said, and set you apart from competition. Because 90%, which is probably the lowest estimation of men, aren't doing these things. So usually they're complimenting a beautiful girl about how beautiful she is. Well, flattering, yes, but she's never going to take that guy seriously because he's no different than the other one. And then what happens is you kind of lose respect. So, you always want to make a woman feel special, but never idolized, because then she'll either friend zone you or, like I said, you'll lose respect. So remember that communication is an exchange back and forth between people. It's not just an interrogation, question. No. So you want to make points about who you are, give admonition for her to respond to, but also let her know who you are, because otherwise there's no way she's going to have an attraction. And women always have their guard up at first. So they need to, and that's for a good reason, because they need to know that you're safe. They need to know that you're not going to, take her in the back of your truck and tie her up. These days are crazy. So you need to make her feel comfortable as well as safe, for her to let her guard down. And also, in order for her to have an attraction with you, she needs to learn intriguing qualities about you. So we discuss ways to include that into a conversation without making you look like you're bragging, or without making you, with it coming naturally. Otherwise you'll be seen as arrogant or insecure, and you don't want that. So also you want to have a positive interaction with her. You always want her to associate positive times with you, so that she's more inclined to want to see more of you. So here is the best way to start a conversation with a stranger. So you want to take into consideration the environment you're in, okay? You want to use something in the environment to approach her with. Something like, if you're at Starbucks, you're in line at Starbucks, and you turn around and you say, "Oh my gosh, I've been drinking caramel macchiatos for 15 years now. I am so sick of it. I'm such a guy. I haven't changed my drink in that long. What are you ordering? Do you have any recommendations? How's that drink?" Or something like that. So a recommendation, or you could be at a club and just say it's Friday night and the club is dead, and you say to her, I'm really disappointed. I was looking forward to getting out tonight. I heard this place was good. I had a crazy week at court this week, well, that might sound like you're a criminal. I had a crazy week at the hospital with your doctor, and I was really hoping to take some time to just have fun, and this place is just dead. Do you know any other places that are good around here on a Friday night? So that is how to use the environment. use time constraints. Use time constraints pretty early on in the conversation. So say that you only have about 5 minutes, because after you get this coffee, you have to go back to meet your friends and you don't want to be rude. So that will put in her head that, is this ever going to end? Sometimes people think that, like, oh my God, does this guy shut up? But it's a relieving, it eliminates pressure. So subconsciously, she knows you're not going to overstay. You're welcome. So always and then you want to be the first one to leave the conversation. And we'll get more into this later too, because we want to leave on a positive note. We'll get into that. So the best way to approach her, another method, is to make her laugh, because laughing lets your guard down. Laughing is associated with having a good time. So, and it's also positive. You want to, if you be funny, but if you're not feeling it, if you're not in that mood, if you have nothing funny to say, don't force it. It will work against you if you do that. So you want it to actually be funny. So I have a suggestion. If you want to stimulate your humor so you can be funny more often, watch a lot of comedies, because they'll be in the top of your mind. You'll be thinking of things. It just stimulates your sense of humor. It also releases oxytocin, which is a neurotransmitter that is responsible for, well-being, a sense of well-being. So it definitely can't hurt. And then if you do say something funny and she doesn't laugh, don't be embarrassed. We're going to get to confidence, but just say, oh, so you don't get my humor. I guess, I can never marry you now. Or say something like, what, you didn't get my humor, but what kind of things do you think are funny? So what's the funniest thing you've ever seen? Just own it. There's going to be times in life when things happen. Just don't take yourself so seriously and just own it. So, again, positive interactions help a lot. So then she associates that with you. And when you're having a conversation and you're going to have highs and lows in the conversation, make sure you leave at a high point. So then that way you leave her with the positive association with you. Now, a lot of people leave where they're like, okay, this is getting awkward. Well, I'm going to go now. Hey, can I get your number? More likely to happen if it's on a high note. Hey, I'd like to continue this, and I'd really like to get your number. Or, I'm really enjoying this conversation. Here's my number. Give me a call, and we can meet up. That's even better when a guy gives his number, because it shows that if you don't, he'll be okay if you don't call him. Otherwise he wouldn't have given you his number. So his life is just fine. He doesn't need you in it. A guy did that to me once, and I was like really, really impressed. And the guy I know him, and he is a very confident guy. So, so you want to use what's called clickbait also. And what that is, oh, okay, so you're going to compare things like being a doctor is the best job in the world and the worst job in the world. She's going to say, why? So living in Sydney, Australia is the best place to live in the world and the worst place to live in the world. She's like, what do you mean? Something like that. So that's kind of like baiting her into, come on, contribute. And if she's not really contributing, which we'll get into why soon, you can always use props. And what I mean by props is your cell phone. So your cell phone, you can have a video or of something funny or something really interesting readily available. So you can be like, hey, did you see this video with blah, 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 blah? Let me show you. And you guys can look at it together and laugh, or, oh, that's so interesting. Just to kind of spruce up the conversation, make it more exciting. So actually things that you can say in questions, things that you can say, you ask questions and make observations and recommendations. So we kind of went over those, but observations about her. So just say you see, okay, first determine whether she's a hot girl or a plain Jane, because that's going to dictate what kind of compliment you give her. So an observation. So the observations, like just say you see a girl and she is wearing, like analyze her, and she has something like a keychain that is a little, funky. And, you can say, hey, that's a really cool keychain. And I'm saying keychain because if somebody said that to me, I would be like, my son gave me that. And I would love it, my guard would be down. So you could say something like, hey, I love that tattoo. What does it mean? I love unicorns. I don't know, whatever it is. And then it could be something very meaningful. Or a book she's reading. By the way, what book are you reading? I heard Eric Larson was a great author. I've never read any of his books. I usually read such and such. What are you enjoying it? What is it about? And then or a piece of jewelry. That could be some kind of like a family heirloom or something. Just something that other guys are not going to observe on her. So they're not going to compliment it. They're going to compliment her sexy outfit or her physical attractiveness. So don't do that. You want to make assumptions. That's another conversation starter. So you can assume that, hey, what's your nationality? You look like you're Italian. My whole extended family's from Italy, and they have that dark skin, but they also talk with their hands like you. And it's okay if she says, no, I'm actually from Spain. Oh, I usually get that right. Say that. And then it kind of, talk to her about Spain. But you can also question, about her. Oh, you look like her profession she might be. You just something about, making an assumption. And you want to ask interesting questions. So you don't want to ask the generic, boring question, like stating the obvious. When I was a kid, we used to say, thank you, Captain Obvious. Like, that's so corny, but you know what I mean? Like, oh, is that a white shirt you have? You want to elicit positive responses with these questions. And also you want to get a sense about who she is more. So like ask, what's your favorite place to vacation? Or if you can live anywhere, where would it be? And what motivates you? What inspires you? And then she can tell you about like something she's passionate about. And then you can talk about something you're passionate about. And then you guys can connect on feeling passionate about something, even though it's not the same thing. It's still a connection. So another thing you can simply say is just, hi, you look like you're a nice person. I wanted to introduce myself. My name is John, or whatever. And the reason why that is a good approach is because when you're assuming that she's nice, she's going to want to live up to that standard. She's not going to be a bitch. More like, less likely to be a bitch. She's going to want to be like, yes, I am nice, but not say that, and then be nice. So that is, and I don't think I mentioned this, be sincere when you do this though. If if she's got the ugliest keychain in the world, don't compliment it. She might know it's really ugly. And then then she'll know that you're not sincere. So just be sincere, especially with compliments. So, compliments, you want to take into consideration where you're at. You want to their environment. You want to take into consideration her appearance. Determine how well you know her. So, is she a coworker? Is she hot? Is she not so hot? Are you at the supermarket? Are you at a loud club, which is going to be hard to get to understand what each other is saying? Just take that into consideration. And then, you want to compliment her on things that she's put effort into. Say things that that she did an updo in her hair and has all kinds of jewels in it. Say, wow, that's really different. Can you do that yourself, or you get that done? That's really cool. I have never seen an updo. You wouldn't even know it's an updo because guys don't know that. I've never seen a hairstyle like that. For hot girls, you don't want to compliment them on their looks, like I said. Instead, observe the outfit, her style, the way she carries herself, her laugh. Again, don't be predictable. You'll be lumped in with all the other guys. You want to say something genuine, like, you have such a unique style. I really like girls who are more concerned about individuality than following trends. Something like that. You want to say, I like the way you carry yourself. You stand there and you just look like you're in deep thought about what's going on around here. Anything interesting? Anything you want to share that's interesting? And then the not so hot girls, you do want to compliment their appearance. So tell her that she's got a beautiful smile. Tell her she's got great hair. Tell her, that her outfit makes her eyes pop or something. You do want to compliment her looks because she's not used to that, and she will appreciate that. But again, be sincere. Do not, if she's got a terrible smile, compliment her hair. So if it's a coworker, say, your assignment that you have to your presentation that you have to do at the end of the week, I know you're going to kill it. You always give the most interesting presentations. You make me look bad, actually, and joke around. It's always good to joke around. And, just avoid any sexual statements, because in the office, I don't even have to get into that with these days, stay away. And if a guy says something sexual prematurely, it's the hugest turn off. Like when I was on dating apps, which I probably will be on soon again, I will, all right, take that part out. When I was on dating apps and a guy would write something sexual, I would just want to throw up. If I met him and we had chemistry and he did that, totally different. But I wouldn't even give him a chance after that. I was like, no, don't want to. So you just, it's going to just eliminate any potential attraction that she could have in you. So if you do, going back to the compliments, now when you give a compliment, do not have an awkward moment after it, because that could happen. So instead, be like, all right, I'm gonna go grab some coffee. Do you want some? Or I'm gonna go grab a drink. Can I get you one? Just don't, there's the confidence again. So we'll get into that. Now, a misconception is hot girls are harder to get. And that's not true. Hot girls get comments more by guys, but they're not guys who are looking to, if they are looking to, they're probably looking to sleep with her, but do they think that they have a chance when they're saying, ooh, baby? Like when I was bartending, I remember I had one of the regulars in there who was like in his 50s. We were like 20, and my friend comes in to visit me, and he's like, hey, and like trying to like get to talk to him, and she just walked past. He's like, bitch. I'm like, what did you think she was gonna say? How do you think she was gonna respond to, hey, baby, you know? And he's like, I never thought of it like that. So, you know, just remember that they're not harder to get. You know, there's a different approach like that we mentioned, but they're not. So how do you make her interested in you when she's standoffish, as most women are when you approach them? Well, you want to, and this is going to happen like mostly in daytime scenarios, when you have time and when you have just quiet and you can actually talk. So you want to know at first that women do like being approached. It is flattering, and they are still going to be standoffish because they don't know you're a douchebag. They don't know, like I said, if you're going to hurt her. So it's important to indicate that you're safe and inform her of your value as a man within probably the first 5 to 10 minutes, because that's really how long the conversation should be. Because the other tip applies where you want to put a time constraint on it. So you be very subtle in weaving in your 3 best attributes. If you can only get to 1 or 2, okay, but you know, ideally 3. So think of what those attributes are, and then you can try to look for ways to do that. So one of my clients, he's a doctor, so he also wants to be a vegan, so he shops at Trader Joe's, and he, you know, went up to a woman, and this is what we discussed, to use a strategy. Went up to a woman in the supermarket and Trader Joe's, and he said, you know, this isn't the vegan story, but he said, he looked at her vegetable selection. He's like, you know, I'm looking at your selection, and I'm wondering, because mine is, I get the same thing all the time. It's so boring. My smoothies, I've been drinking them every day, and I really want to add some new flavor to it. Do you have any recommendations? Because I see some recommendation. She made a recommendation, and then from there, they got into a conversation about health, and then it came out in a very casual way that he's a doctor and he works, you know, down the block at Baptist, and her friend worked there, and it became a really good, positive conversation. So, you know, you want to just put, you know, in another client of mine, here's another example. So he owns a nonprofit that advocates for ethical treatment of puppies, because puppy mills should be closed down. It's this really sad thing. So he says at the dog park, he goes up to a girl and says, oh, I really love that dog, a Maltese toy. And she says, no, that this is a Bichon or something like that. He goes, really? He's like, I'm incredibly familiar with all breeds because of my job, and I never get that wrong because I work with dogs. So that's kind of like a hook too. Oh, what do you do with dogs? She probably thought he was a veterinarian. Well, I have a nonprofit for the ethical treatment of puppies in puppy mills. That's impressive, because women love animals, and that shows a compassionate side. So he was able to weave that in and not look like he was bragging. So one more thing, like if you meet a girl, she's from Italy. Oh, you're from Italy? I travel to Europe all the time for my job, but I usually go to Spain and France and England. I've never been to Italy though. So I've always wanted to. Tell me something awesome that most tourists don't know about Italy. And that's another good way to weave it in, because it shows like he travels for work. You know, he must be pretty stable. So also, to prepare yourself for these conversations and cold approach, have some interesting and funny stories, you know, like the prop, you know, have it ready to pull out of your head and use it. So, you know, you can, but use it in context and say, oh my gosh, you want to hear this story? Because making you laugh is the number one thing you could do. But if you don't if you're not being funny, then don't do it. So if you have a really funny story, keep it in mind to use for a situation like this. And when you do tell the story, make sure that you're being like energetic and you're like making facial expressions and just hand movements and just, you know, being really like funny about it and dramatic about it. And just, you know, and that's another point. You want to, when you go into a conversation, you want to have high energy, because women do mirror your energy and mood. So if you're constantly anxious and fidgety in front of women, it's no wonder that you're not having luck, because that's how you're making them feel. So then, you know, if you're relaxed and you're, you know, just taking pauses, talking slow, not in a, you know, just very comfortable with yourself, you will then make her feel more comfortable. And when she's more comfortable, she's more inclined to want to see more of you. So back to the stories, also be descriptive. So use words like, oh, breathtaking, brilliant, hilarious, you know, instead of boring, like, oh, cool, oh, that's nice, you know. So it just makes things more interesting when you use descriptive words. So finally, confidence. It's so important, and it really is the crux of everything in life that you need to be successful at. I have an ebook that you can message me if you're interested for a free version of this ebook. If you message me on Fiverr, no strings attached. I'm not going to charge you or whatever. Just this ebook I want to share with people, because the technique in it that teaches unshakable confidence, sustainable confidence, it teaches self-awareness, so you build a strong identity. It teaches emotional regulation so that you are more emotionally just stable, and it teaches you how to train yourself to be in homeostasis, being, you know, and use your negative emotions as signals and tap into them and find out what's the underlying reason. It's just so amazing. It's after like decades of research in the field of neuroscience, they have found that neuroplasticity is an amazing has amazing findings, which are seen through modern brain imaging scans, that you can actually transform and restructure your entire brain in 3 months, well, 63 days, which is the time it takes to develop any habit. And the results are seen in a brain scan. And when I say restructure, I mean go from a toxic, negative mindset to a healthy, positive one that drives you forward. It doesn't drive you back. So when if you have this mindset approaching a woman, you're not going to tell yourself, I'm going to fail. Oh, she's not going to like me. She probably likes it. You're going to be very confident when you go up to her, and it's going to be obvious that you're confident by the way you handle yourself. So it is so important to work on your inner self. But in the meantime, for confidence, if you're not going to do that, which I really suggest you do, remember to stay out of your head, okay? Stay out of your head. You can change it like that. That's how we're built. Don't think too long or talk, because you'll talk yourself out of it or talk yourself in a negative state of mind. So do things that can make you feel better, like go to the gym. You know, you'll feel better because it releases endorphins, but also because you'll start to see results, and you know, that can, it does make you feel better. It's not sustainable, but it does. And putting on some muscle helps, you know, makes you more attractive to women because you can protect her. So that can help, or go back to school, because, or, you know, try to advance in your job, you know, work on bettering yourself, and then you can feel better about yourself. So that's another way. Again, not the best way, but it is a way. So, and then use body language. So when you're approaching her, or when you're at a place, you want to have the mindset that you own this place. Walk around like you are the manager, you are the owner. And that's how you know, that's the kind of confidence you want to display. You don't want to look arrogant, and you definitely don't want to be arrogant, but just, you know, like I said, always be in a comfortable, relaxed position. Are you standing up straight? Are your gestures like smooth? Are you able, you're not standing like this, because that's closed. Like this is open, and it invites positive energy in, and it is more conducive to a positive interaction with somebody. So speak slowly, take pauses. You know, just if you have if you're not really comfortable with using your body language, look into how you know, what makes a speaker, a public speaker, an engaging speaker. Like Martin Luther King, you know, the great speakers. What do they do? And you want to model yourself after somebody else that you know is confident. You want to practice and rehearse. So you want to practice, you know, power poses, they call them. You want to also practice in the mirror. Like, how do you say, you know, you want to be assertive? How do you say no? Do you say no? Or no? No. No. See the difference? Or hello, hello, hello. So just different tonality, because confidence, a downward tonality indicates confidence more than hi, you know. So try to work on your body language, and control and monitor your thoughts. Again, that ebook, Harness Your Inner Power, is all about controlling your thinking. We have so much more power than we were ever told. And when you find out how much and how powerful your mind is, and how you control your mind and your brain, they don't control you, your life will change. So anyway, so you want to set goals for approaching women, that you want to have a good conversation, be curious about what they have to say, and recognize that you're in practice mode. So, you know, expect to fail. And when you do fail, just remember what you did. Ideally, you want to write it down, but not everyone's going to do it. And think about what you could do better. So you never want to beat yourself up if you fail. You want to tell yourself, well, I'm a work in progress. I'm working towards being an excellent communicator, and I will get there. So just practice with as many people as you encounter. Just practice. And that way, when you meet somebody who it really matters, you will have enough practice under your belt. Also, when you practice and you create positive memories of positive interactions, successful interactions, you're replacing the negative memories, and you are rewiring your neural networks by replacing them like that. And that, again, that could be seen on brain scans. And eventually you will rewire your neural networks, and you will have a default thinking. Your default thinking will go to positive about when it comes to approaching people, instead of negative and nerves and fear and doubt and anxiety. Instead, you'll do it like it's nothing, because you'll be so used to it. So, remember, there's nothing wrong with you. People are not born with game. Most people aren't, don't grow up super confident. These are things that we all have to learn, and through dedication and persistence, we all work to get better at it. If this is something that that you want for yourself, then you have to work at it. There's nothing wrong with doing this. So again, be a good listener with women, because you will stand out from other guys. Guys do not listen. They don't listen well. I know I can think of situations in my past where a guy did listen, and this was years ago, and I still remember he used to ask good questions about my stories, like as if he was really listening. And I was so impressed. I was like, yeah, and I was excited to tell him about it, and he would be interested. So, definitely be a good listener. Also, if you do get that date and you can recall things that she told you, she'll be super impressed. And then here you go. Once you have succeeded at most of these things, or at a strategy, then, and your time constraint is up, you want to, like I said, say, hey, I really want to continue this. Let me get your number. Not, can I have your number? Let me get your number. Or, I'm really enjoying having this conversation, but I gotta go. Can I give you my number? And that is really a tactful way to do it. And but you do want to establish a connection first. Going up to somebody who doesn't know anything about you, you didn't tell her anything about you yet, or you didn't use any of these strategies, so you just asked her questions. She didn't ask anything about you, and then you say, can I have your number? Likely it won't happen. But if you do it like this, where she gets to know some things about you that increase your value as a guy and make you more interesting and somebody that she wants to get to know, then yeah, So that's pretty much it. I have a couple short bonus tips and we are done. So not if she doesn't reciprocate to you, and it's just, it's not going anywhere, she's not interested, just kindly say, well, it was very nice speaking to you and I hope you have a great day, and walk away. That's it. You don't have to, keep a mindset that you're not trying to impress her. Because then what happens is you have this fake nice guy attitude that comes out. I mean, you could be a nice guy, but when you overdo it and it's not sincere, it is inconsistent, and we pick up on it that you're not being sincere. And if you're agreeing to everything, you're not challenging her. Women like to be challenged. So just have the attitude that she needs to impress you too. So you need to qualify her as well. So if she doesn't ask you any questions, just say, hey, are you shy? Are you shy? And she'll say, no, why? I don't know, you haven't asked me any questions. Either she's gonna, if she likes you and wants to keep it going, she's gonna step it up. If she doesn't, then you'll know right there. She's like, yeah, I didn't. And then you're gonna know, all right, this is, now go back to, it was nice meeting you and I hope you have a great day. So, okay, I know this video is long, but it's very, I know a lot of people make their videos short just so they know that no one's gonna watch it. And they leave out so much information. I could have include a little bit more, but this is the foundation to starting a conversation. I'll do a video about continuing the conversation, but this is great information. It gives you a little bit about continuing, but it's really focused on starting it and how you need confidence and how you need to train your mindset to work for you, and just what things, different ways that you can analyze different situations, because it could be challenging sometimes, but you take the environment, you take her looks, you take how well you know her, you take her appearance, I said that, her outfit, just so many things that is necessary if you want to really have a positive, successful result from a cold approach. All right, guys, I hope that you click like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye.
Please like and subscribe, and also find my free ebook on Fiverr.com.